Jim and I had known each other since about 1974. And he has attended many master classes. He took always very detailed notes, and he had planned to publish a book with the collected things from the master classes I had given that he had attended. Only a few days before his death, I was at the university here teaching private lessons, and Jim came and sat down in the lessons. He was going to take notes. Of course, he was too sick and too frail to do anything but sleep most of the day. He sat for about 8 hours each day in complete silence and slept while I was teaching. I was very aware of how he was feeling. He had severe headaches. The light was very bothersome to him. So I will always remember how beautiful the students were, because I asked them if they would mind to take the lesson kind of in dark. We closed the light, we turned off the lights, and we closed the windows, and Jim pretty much slept, woke up a few times to smile and to comment on some of the performances and some of the music. But that was my last visit with Jim, and even in his sleep he heard the music and he felt it in a very deep and sincere level.
There were several moments, throughout his lifetime that I tried to tell him how much I admired him, and I really did. And I think towards the end that he really did understand, because actually I was leading a summer program at a charter high school in Highland Park, and they were doing a concert series in the summer, and I arranged for a concert for Jim Smith to do, and that was actually his last concert before his death. It was the summer before his death. So he performed there with a singer that was from Korea, and then he also performed with his violinist duet partner. So it was great. And I did invite several other guitarists to perform and share the stage with him, as well as watch him perform. But we had no idea that it was going to be his last performance. So that was an honor for me to partake in.
It's funny, working with Jim, I was a TA here, and so I worked with him, he was my supervisor in an administrative capacity. I had a few lessons with Jim, but didn't have that much opportunity to study with him, but I worked with him a lot. But I think probably one of my just fondest personal memories with him was this summer, when we had just a lovely visit, just the two of us, for 4 or 5 hours, and just him sharing his life with me. And I think he started to do that a lot more towards the end, but it was just really beautiful. And I've known him for a long time, and after, I had children and he had children again, and the kids would play together, and it was exciting to, see this man who I had known talk about music. It was exciting to see him talk about, potty training. So the personal memories are the ones that I love to see as well, because I think everybody who knows Jim knows the music and the passion, so I kind of cherish the personal memories a lot.
He was just an extremely important figure, I think, in the guitar world. He just did so much for USC, bringing so many famous people here. I know personally, I feel extremely privileged to have worked with people that he's brought in, and I just feel like I've grown a lot because of his actions and efforts. So he was a great organizer and like head of the guitar department, as well as like a great mentor in person.
You know, Jim, he respected the people around him so much, and he was so quick to praise his students, his colleagues, local composers, or even faraway composers that he believed in. And he just really thought of them as being just wonderful people that he wanted to share with the rest of the world. And one thing that happened, Pat Metheny was visiting USC, and I remember I wasn't a student anymore. I was just in the audience, and Jim came up and he grabbed me and he said, "Oh, have you met Pat Metheny yet?" And he brought me, and instead of saying, you know, "Pat, this is Lynn, Lynn, this is Pat," he's like, "Pat, have you met Lynn McGrath? This is Lynn McGrath." And I'll never forget that the look on Pat Metheny's face. He's like, "Who is this person? Is she really some famous composer, famous, you know, is she in a band? Who is she?" Thinking that I was someone really famous or really important. And that's the thing with Jim. The people in his life that he cared about, they were so important to him that he just wanted to share them with the world.
No, I think so many things. I gotta say though that taking on a different role because of Jim being gone. And if someone, yesterday one of the students asked me about some pieces, asked me about some Falkenhagen sonatas, Baroque lute pieces. And I know a little bit about it, and I could do some research, and had this been any other year, I would have, first thing I would have done is called Jim and said, what do you know about Falkenhagen, and what are your favorite pieces? And he would have had an opinion, he would have had answers, and he would have taken off. And now I look around, I look to my left, I look to my right, and there's nobody to ask. And I've got to be the one to come up with those answers. And that's a sort of an awesome change. And I just miss his counsel and his wisdom. And there's no one to turn to now. So that's probably the biggest thing.
I already do miss one thing that's very noticeable here in the department is he was the glue that held everything together, and that's very noticeable. His presence in that sense is missed immediately when you at least being here as long as I have. That's more on a professional level, but on a personal level, I think I'll miss his attention to you as a person. When he was talking with you, you were like the only person in the room. He really paid attention, when you were talking with him. And he could talk, he loved to have conversations, and I'll miss his sort of, sort of attention to detail like that, in personal matters. He was a real good sort of life coach, and I'll miss his musical sense of humor. His arrangements that he did at all Jim Smith and Friends, but that lives on. That lives on. So.